Hello everybody, I am Sister Slayosh and welcome back to my channel, Boo Sugars. That's if you are a part of the Slay Nation. Now for those who are not a part of the fam, welcome to my channel for the first time and hopefully it won't be your last. Today, I have Miss Lolita here, compliments of Kat Von D, and we're going to be reviewing this palette and I'm going to give you my open, honest opinion as always. So if you want to know if I would recommend this here palette, stay tuned, little sugar, and yeah, stay tuned. If this is one of your first times watching my reviews, I'm going to tell you a little bit on how I determine if it's a good eyeshadow palette or not. I use this method that I developed called LOVE, and it's L-O-V-E. And I always recommend that you love your palette before you buy it. And LOVE stands for, it's an acronym. L stands for if the product is long wearing and if there's some longevity with the product, and that means if the product will be available in the future whenever you run out of it. Also O stands for how organized the palette is, and V stands for value and versatility, which means the cost point per each eyeshadow in the palette and how versatile the palette is and if you could use it for more than just your eyes. And then E stands for ease of everyday use, which is usually something that encompasses things like pigmentation, the actual formulation of the product, and if it's easy to use. So I'm going to start with L. Is this palette long wearing and long lasting, and is there some longevity with this palette? So this palette is a long wearing eyeshadow palette. I've experienced anywhere from 4 to 7 hours of eyeshadow wear with this palette. A lot of times my eyelids are a little oilier than usual. I have very oily skin. So what happens is, even with the primer, sometimes my eyeshadow will crease a little sooner than anybody else. So more than likely you're going to be able to wear this palette anywhere from maybe 6 to 12 hours because I'm kind of an exception to the rule. But this palette is long wearing and long lasting. Now for the longevity of the palette. That is something I'm not sure about because this is a new eyeshadow palette. I believe this has been on the market maybe, I got mine like a week ago. So maybe 2 weeks, 1 or 2 weeks now. So it's too new for us to know exactly how long the eyeshadow palette is going to be readily available. With that being said, I'm going to have to play it safe. I want to give it a fair grade for the longevity. For the longevity, I'm going to give it a 5. And that's sitting right there on the scale from 1 to 10, with 10 being the best and 1 being the worst. I'm going to give it a fair 5 because we don't know if this is going to be a palette that's going to be readily available within the next couple of years. So we don't know that yet. As far as the longevity, I'm going to give this palette a 7. And the reason why I'm giving it a 7 is because I've worn other eyeshadows from Kat Von D and other brands that have lasted longer on my oily eyelids. And this formula, it didn't last as long as the others, but it still has some pretty good wear time. So I think that's a fair grade. Now we're going to go to O. And if any of you have seen my videos, you know how angry I get and how frustrated I get when a palette is not organized. It's very important to have an organized eyeshadow palette because you want to be able to cater to those everyday women and the artists as well. And for an everyday woman, more than likely she has a job, she has kids, she has responsibilities. She does not have time to spend 2 hours doing her makeup. If she does, must be nice because it ain't me. So when you look at this palette, I have to be very honest here, and I will say good job. Now you may see a couple colors that may seem a little out of place. I would have moved this one a little further down there, and that's okay. But it's not that many colors, so as far as it being organized, it's pretty good. I was able to look at this palette and come up with the look, and I was able to do my makeup within 20 minutes. So this palette is very organized. So when it comes to organization, then the fact that this color is here and I would have liked to send it over there, even though it's not my call to make, I'm gonna give it an 8. So the palette is very well organized and way better organized than the Fetish palette. So I'll give you an 8, you know what I'm saying? My guess, girl, you earned an 8. I'll let you make it. third part of the love acronym is V, and V has two meanings: value and versatility. Now, when we speak about value in an eyeshadow palette, what we like to discuss is if the cost point is appropriate for the amount of eyeshadow pans that are in the palette. So usually a good cost point, or what I feel is a economically friendly cost point, is anywhere from 50 cents up to $5 max as a economical cost point for a palette, and that is per eyeshadow in the palette. And usually when you're getting up into the $10, $20 per eyeshadow cost point within the palette, you're looking at more of an artist palette and not so much as a palette that is for the everyday woman. And the reason why I say it's an artist palette is because you want to use that product on other people to the point to where the product pays for itself. If the everyday woman is spending upwards of $10 and $20 per each eyeshadow within the palette, she's not really getting the value for it because it's not paying for itself. She's just using it on herself, if you understand what I'm saying. So what I found with this particular palette, it has 8 colors in there, and it retails for $39, which you can just say $40 once you put the tax in there. So it's right at that $5 mark. The pans are slender and vertically placed, so they're a little long within the eyeshadow, but it's right at that $5 mark, which I think is kind of pushing it, because that's our limit is $5. So I'm not gonna give it a bad grade because it's at that $5 point. I'm gonna be really fair. I think it could have been priced a little better. That's just me, but I'm gonna be fair and I'm gonna give it a 7. Because the Fetish eyeshadow palette, it had multiple, I think it had like maybe 20 in there, and it retailed for about $63, and it was like $4 per eyeshadow within the palette. So it seems like the smaller the palette is, the more you're paying for it, damn near. And I just don't know how to feel about that. I feel that they could do a better job when it comes to pricing their palettes, because it doesn't really give it a high value proposition once you're getting past anywhere from 8 to 10 pans within the eyeshadow. You're going to be spending $100 on the eyeshadow palette, and that's a lot for the everyday woman to spend if she's not using this for work and it's not paying for herself and she can't write it off on her taxes. So I really believe they should be a little more mindful with the way they price their palettes. Now, when it comes to versatility, I am going to grade this one a little low when it comes to versatility. Now, these colors would make beautiful blushes. I've tried them and they do make beautiful blushes. There is no colors in here that you could use as a highlight, and there are a couple colors you could use as a lip color, but because of the formulation, it is kind of patchy, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. So when it comes to being a versatile palette, being the fact that it's so small and it's so limited within the color story, I'm gonna have to give it a 4. So value and versatility, value is decent, versatility not so much. So yeah, that's how I feel about it. What do you think? Now for the fourth and final one, the letter E. E stands for ease of everyday use. And with the ease of everyday use, we like to talk about the pigmentation of the product, the way it's formulated, how the product blends, what type of brush to use with it, and also the packaging. Because those are going to be the things that are going to factor into your daily decisions of if I'm going to pick this palette up, open it, and use it for my daily look. So when it comes to ease of everyday use with this palette, we're going to start with pigmentation. As you will see on my arm, these are the swatches from this palette. And a lot of these swatches, for the most part, are true to color. This one on the end kind of tricks you a little bit. It swatches a little darker than in the pan, and it does, I have it on my eyes now, and it does wear a little darker on the skin. This palette is a cool tone palette, so this will probably cater better to those who have a little more pink in their undertones and less golden, because sometimes with the golden undertones it's going to wash out and it's going to look a little dark and maybe a little splotchy. So this palette, it does really good as far as the pigmentation. What I don't like though is this color and this color here. They kind of look the same on my skin tone, but I am curious to see what it looks like on a lighter skin tone. So I kind of have to ding her for that. And for the packaging is magnetic, so it closes on its own. If you leave it open, let's say the 90-degree angle, it's gonna, the magnets are gonna suck it together and it's gonna close. So you don't have to worry about product being chipped and splashed all over the place if you decide to put it in your purse, because it does close magnetically. It has a mirror, and the mirror is tight enough just so you can get a good little view of your eyes if you're touching up your eyeshadow. I do like that. And the packaging is cardboard. Y'all know how I feel about cardboard packaging. I think it's lazy and I think it's cheap. I'm not gonna change my mind on that. But on the front of her packaging, it has Lolita, which is the name of the palette. And if you know or ever wore any of her products, you would know that Kat Von D designs all of her packaging. So this is her original artwork, which I think is really cool and creative. It also has the names of the eyeshadows on the back. So if you know the name of the color and you're like, okay, well, I need to find Vestitos or whatever the color is, you can go straight to it and you can go put it on your eyes. Also, when it comes to the way the product blends, the product is more of a pigment, so it's very soft and it blends extremely well. I would recommend using a synthetic brush with this, because sometimes the natural bristles may spin the product out and it may take a lot longer to blend. So I would recommend using a synthetic blending brush with this palette, because the colors do kind of have a creamy texture. So that is it with this palette. As far as the ease of everyday use, I found that this palette would be very easy for the everyday woman to use. So I'm gonna give it a perfect 10. So with that being said, boo sugars, you done got my opinion on it. Now what's your opinion on it? Are you gonna buy this palette? You gonna give her a chance for she gonna get some of them Christmas coins? If so, let me know what you think about it. I would love to know. Put it in my comments, you know. Slide up in them DMs and be like, you know what? I like this palette. So, with that being said, if you have not drenched the family, it's about to be a new year. Get that old 2018 up at you. Come on this side. Come on to the dark side in 2019. Have a little fun with your girl. Join the family. Like, subscribe, comment, hit that notification bell, cuz. Yeah, do that. I'll be waiting for you. In the yard. On the perch. I'm really playing. Go on, hit that subscribe. Y'all have a happy new year. A Merry Christmas. I don't even know when I'm gonna put this video up. Hope it might be past Christmas. So if it's past Christmas when this video come up, Happy New Year. If it's past New Year's when this video come up, hell, Happy Valentine's Day. But yeah, just let me know. Love y'all. Have a great day, boo sugars. I'll be dancing all the time. I'll be losing no weight.